Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Today we're talking about something a little bit different, that being the upcoming new IP that I believe is going to end up giving Division its biggest run for its money yet. Not just because it's likely going to challenge Division's gameplay styles, but because it's being made by some of the core people responsible for crafting the Division 1. That's right, maybe some of you already knew about this, maybe not, but I think it's a really interesting topic because there's been plenty of discussion in the past about Division and Destiny, right? I made videos about it myself, and while I think there absolutely is a correlation between the two audiences because of the similarities between them of their looter shooter genres, their approaches to content and whatnot, ultimately people who enjoy first-person games over third-person are going to be more attracted to Destiny and vice versa. And a common notion that a lot of people have shared around is that Ubisoft is able to be as non-committal, we'll say, to the Division as they are, because ultimately I think they know, and we certainly do, that whatever they do, we're going to eat it up, because there truly isn't any other franchise like the Division, and that's the truth. But that might change with this new IP. Now, this isn't new news, let me be clear. Some people were talking about this months ago. It's been out there. I don't really know why I didn't cover it back then. I must have just been busy. But seeing as we're still waiting for Division 2 and Heartland news or content, I figured why not get it out here while I can. I'm going to be plenty busy when those things drop. As I said before, this is a super interesting subject, so I wanted to get to it for sure. And so today's the day we're going to talk about Shark Mob and their upcoming new IP. Let's get into it. I think before talking about this new IP and what kind of game it might be, it's important to set the stage here. Who's making this? Why do I think it's going to be such a big competitor? I'm going to leave a link down below to an article that sums all of this up really nicely, and it's what I'm going to reference right now and in this video, so definitely check it out and read it yourself if you are interested. But basically, I believe it was shortly before launch, several of Division 1's key developers left the project and went to form Shark Mob Studio, which at the time was an independent indie studio, and we'll circle back to that. But they made this studio in Malmo, Sweden. Yes, the same city that Massive and the Division are still based out of to this day. So this new competing IP and these old Division devs are a handful of minutes from the people who are currently working on the Division 2. I find that pretty amusing. But it's important to recognize that these weren't just some random developers. These were key people, very key people in the Division 1. The article cites the game director, technical director, IP director, and the art director as all being part of this formation of Shark Mob. Now that's huge. The IP director of the Division 1, left to go create a new studio. Like, this is major stuff. Now, since then, this all went down in like 2017, so not too long after Division 1 launched. But since then, Shark Mob has been acquired by publisher Tencent, who you may know from having relations to Warframe. I find it kind of ironic that these guys left Massive, I would assume, in protest to Ubisoft's control as the publisher, but whatever, it's not really the focus of the story here. The point is, they were established in 2017 and then acquired by Tencent in 2019, and since, they have touted 3 projects that they're working on. Now, one of the benefits I get to have for not having covered this a while ago is that we've now actually seen the first of Shark Mob's projects release, and I think it absolutely helps inform just what type of game we can expect this other new IP to be. Now, that project of theirs, maybe you've heard of it, is Blood Hunt, which if you don't know is within the Vampire the Masquerade universe, so Shark Mob was given the rights to do that, and it's a free-to-play, third-person battle royale game. Now, I'll be honest, this game looks fun as hell. When it launched last month, it was only on PC. I've heard it's now coming to PS5 as well. Apparently, obviously, I'm on Xbox, so if I had the opportunity to play this, I would, because like I said, it looks super fun, but I've not, obviously, because I'm not on those platforms. The game looks like it has a big emphasis on movement and kind of momentum-based combat, which seems really interesting. You're doing a lot of jumping between rooftops and shooting through alleys and whatnot. It looks like a blast. Definitely check it out if you're on PC. Like I said, it's free to play. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about it if you do check it out. I'll make sure to add in the trailer gameplay or something over top the section so you can get an idea of what the game looks like. So yeah, Blood Hunt is Shark Mob's first project. That's their first game. But as I mentioned previously, they've been very adamant about their 3-game roster. And at the same time, before we hone in on Project 2, they've called it, which is what I want to focus on. But at the same time, Shark Mob has also been very clear about their intentions and goals as a studio. I'm going to leave a link to their website down below, and on there you can find this quote that I'm about to read. I'll put it up on screen too. Besides Blood Hunt, we have 2 undisclosed AAA projects powered by Unreal Engine 5. One is developed with Malmo as the lead studio, and the other by London. It's no secret that we love action-packed online social experiences, so it's safe to say that these games contain such elements. And then quickly before I comment, I want to read this quote also from that article I mentioned earlier. Again, link down below if you want to go check it out. In this, they were taking a quote from someone at Shark Mob who said, "We're not really interested in making a more traditional single-player type of game. What we play privately, the kind of games we love, are very social, very competitive, always multiplayer. The more the merrier." Okay, that's a lot of information. Let me make it easier for you and break down the three most essential components here that I took away from those two comments. One, these guys love online multiplayer worlds with an emphasis on competitiveness over story, and that's what they're building with these other two games. Two, both these two games that are not Blood Hunt that they're making are made in Unreal Engine 5. And 3, the people leading these games, most likely the specific one we're about to talk about, are some of the most fundamental people who were there to create The Division as an IP. And so that brings us to Project 2. This is the only piece of artwork that exists for this other Shark Mob title. Look familiar? Yeah, it looks like The Division. This is essentially the Division killer, being built literally minutes away from Massive and the Division team. Alright, I'm gassing at the situation a little bit. Obviously, we don't know the full scope and premise of the game until it's officially revealed, but what I really want to inform and drive home with this video is just how likely it is that Shark Mob's Project 2 game here is going to end up being quite similar to the Division, and how I believe that if Ubisoft doesn't recognize this as a threat and take Division a bit more seriously some of the time, then them and the IP are seriously going to be in trouble. Because this game they're building at Shark Mob looks to bring a lot to the table that Division fans have been asking for a long time, and perhaps most importantly, without all the baggage that the Division franchise will not carry with it forever. So let's talk about that a bit. In their branding, Shark Mob clearly lays out how devoted they are to creating a big online experience. That's something the Division fans have wanted more of for a very long time. The limiting of 24 to 12 players in the Division 2's DZs, people didn't like that. And if all of a sudden the Shark Mob game offers wide open world, like shared servers for maybe PvE and PvP capacities, that's going to be a big selling point for a lot of Division fans. The fact that they're making this on Unreal Engine 5 as well, that's big. The problem here isn't even necessarily that Snowdrop is outdated. Division is a gorgeous game, and the 2019 version of the engine delivered a stunning visuals and gameplay, but Unreal 5 is cutting edge, and I would say it means that there's a 95% chance, no, I'll even say 99% chance, that by the time this does release, we'll be well into the next-gen era, and it won't have to worry about releasing on the Xbox One or the PS4. Hell, we're already seeing Massive do the same with Avatar in 2022. And so even if Snowdrop is competitive with the graphical and technical capabilities of Unreal Engine 5, the fact that Division 2 is going to be stuck on the last gen in this new game will assumedly release without that constraint and before Division 3, that's going to be a problem for Ubisoft, and Shark Mob will have plenty of options for how they want to push the boundaries for what's capable in a shared world shooter type of deal. And like I mentioned, the guys leading the studio as a whole are Division 1 veterans, which comes with clout considering it's held in higher regard than Division 2. And that said, they care more about competition than story. That's going to be music to a lot of people's ears. Now, that's not going to attract all of Division's audience. Division has a very rich lore that brings a lot of people in, and that's why they love the game and the franchise. But a competitive focus is absolutely going to attract a certain type of Division player, as well as a lot of players from different games across the gaming industry. And if the game is similar enough to the Division, that could be enough to drown Division out. And beyond all of that, we've now seen what Shark Mob is capable of producing in the third-person genre with Blood Hunt. Like I said, I haven't been able to play it myself because I'm not on PC, but it just looks fun. And there seems to be a big emphasis on movement and skill. Again, two things that are going to make a lot of Division players' ears perk up. And going back to this concept art for their Project 2, you wouldn't be blamed for believing this was concept art from a new or old Division game. The trashed, apocalyptic-looking city in the background, the crashed debris in front of these two characters, and the characters themselves would easily be passed as Division agents if it weren't for the fact that they don't have the Isaac bricks on their shoulder. So there's clearly a similarity here in the concept and art style to the Division. Shark Mob has shown their proficiency at making a good non-cover-based third-person game. The creative team behind this mysterious Project 2 were the masterminds behind the Division brand in the first place. And let's not forget, the last thing these guys worked on was the Division 1, as its content and scale was significantly being cut down before launch. And that's not even necessarily the devs or Ubi's fault. It was well documented how that vision was just ahead of its time, and it wouldn't really have worked on the Xbox One and the PS4 hardware, and with Microsoft and Sony's limitations and all that stuff. But guess what? By the time this game gets its official reveal, which I would say, I don't know, maybe E3 2023, that'll have been exactly 10 years since the first time we saw that 2013 trailer for the Division 1 that people reference so often. And that was the last thing these guys worked on. And they left Ubisoft with those dreams and aspirations in mind because they never got the chance to see that project, come to fruition. Well, here we are, 10 years later, with a new bar set by the Xbox Series X and the PS5, and the possibilities of Unreal Engine 5. I really have no doubt in my mind that these developers and all these people they've brought on board to Shark Mob are still chasing that vision of a sprawled, shared, open-world PvPvE environment with stunning graphics and interactivity. And like I said, if Ubisoft doesn't recognize that, if this doesn't light a fire under their ass to step it up on a Division 3, or hell, even a Division 2.5 that takes Division 2 off of the last-gen consoles in the next few years, they're in trouble. Division's going to be in trouble. And I don't mean to scare people or create a bunch of doubt. You all know I love Division. It's my favorite IP of all time, probably always will be. And I want it to succeed for many, many years to come. That's why I feel it's important to talk about what's going on over at SharkMob. Now again, we haven't seen a lick of what this Project 2 is designed to be beyond that concept art. I'm going off of all this information from these other places to fill those parts in. But maybe they plan for this to be another Battle Royale, like Blood Hunt. Maybe they're trying to make it a full game like a DZ, Escape from Tarkov. So maybe it'll be them themselves that fumble the bag in terms of creating something to directly compete with the Division, and maybe Ubi will go on unchallenged, leaving them room to be negligible as we've seen them be over these past years. But I have a feeling that won't be the case. I have a feeling that the former IP director and the game director of the Division 1 know what they're doing. They know where Ubisoft is vulnerable, and I think they fully intend on exploiting that weakness, and we're just going to have to wait and see if it'll be finally enough to wake up Ubisoft to the fact that they're sitting on a gold mine, and that they have been for the past 5.5 years. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts on the story with SharkMob. Did you already know about them? Do you see their Project 2 as being a real competitor for the Division? And what do you think about their recently released Blood Hunt? Absolutely leave all of that and your other thoughts down below. I'm very curious what people are going to have to say about this one, and I'm curious to see what SharkMob's cooking up. Like I said, I doubt we'll see anything on it until 2023, maybe. Who knows? Could be sooner, could be later. That's just my guess. I'll always be a Division fan, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested to see what a non-Ubisoft influenced property could bring to the space, especially one created by the people who were so influential to the core in the creation of the Division as an IP. Alright everyone, well that is going to do it for me on this one. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one guys, RogueGold out.